From the Oklahoma newsroom, this is the Thunder Update. I'm Jenny Carlson here with Eric Horn. Eric, yes, okay, Thunder Update. We're going to talk about a former Thunder, but we can't help ourselves.
He can't help himself. It's not us. It's not us. It's him.
And the he and him in question, Kevin Durant. I don't know what to call this, Eric. Tweetgate's probably too easy, but the other night, sort of unexpectedly, Kevin Durant's Twitter account, now whether this was Durant or someone else, engaged with some random fans on Twitter about why he left Oklahoma City. And near as we can tell, Durant did not intend for this to come from his official Twitter account, but it did. Just interesting. Tell us what the heck happened here, Eric.
Well, basically, a fan asked Durant, aside from, trying to win a championship, give me one good reason why you go to Golden State. This was all a Twitter exchange, and Durant's account, which this question was tweeted to, responded in the third person saying that he didn't like Billy Donovan, he didn't like the organization, it was just him and Russ, he couldn't win a championship with those cats. And that statement in itself is interesting, and I guess we can get to that, but it came directly from Durant's account. Durant himself hasn't said that it wasn't him. He hasn't denounced this. All that happened were that the tweets were deleted, which makes this even more interesting. And then Durant came back after the fact when somebody asked him, trying to act like you're being all slick about deleting these tweets. And Durant just flatly said through his account, now in the first person, no, I deleted it. So we don't know if it was actually Kevin Durant tweeting that. It was probably somebody in his camp that meant to use another account. There are some people who are saying that Durant has multiple Twitter accounts. He has multiple Instagram accounts in which he responds to haters or people who are, engaging with him on Twitter or Instagram. A lot of questions. We're probably spending way more time on this than we should, but it does include the Thunder. It does include some reasons as to why he left the Thunder, and it's just Kevin Durant throwing himself back into the Thunder salad once again.
What is the motivation here? I mean, Kevin Durant, he has his championship. Mm-hmm. He has his basketball nirvana. Like, why would even anybody in his camp, whether this was him or someone who has access to his Twitter account, why even engage in any of this? Why even worry about any of this, Eric?
It doesn't really seem like something that someone of Kevin Durant's accomplishments and stratosphere would worry about. But these guys, as we know, are self-conscious. Athletes take a lot of things to heart. We know Kevin's a guy who is sensitive about media criticism, not even media criticism so much, but just fan criticism. And we've seen it once again with this. This summer he's come out with the red velvet version of his shoe that harkens back to the Thunder fans chanting "cupcake" at him. He's got the insole of his new shoe that has all the insults that he heard while he was at the Thunder game, Thunder versus Warriors game back here in Oklahoma City. So it's obvious that this stuff bothers Kevin Durant. The question is, why? Why does it bother him so much when he's reached the pinnacle of sport?
Yeah, it is a big question, because I think there was some thought that maybe he had started to embrace this villain role.
Yeah.
And now you sort of have to question, does he really, or does he still really care? Seems like he cares, or people in his camp, and by extension you have to assume, he still feels this way to a degree too, cares what people think and wants him to be portrayed in some positive light, that this was all on the Thunder, that he had to leave, that the coaching wasn't good enough, the roster wasn't good enough. I mean, that smacks to me that there's still a feeling like, hey, we want to be the good guys here.
Yeah, or it's a feeling that if this wasn't Kevin Durant speaking the first time that he responded on his Twitter account, that once again Kevin Durant doesn't have control of his camp. People just continue to put things out there. It's been from the day he left to recently this weekend that things just continue to leak out about why Kevin Durant left. Some of them contradict each other. At the beginning, it was Russell Westbrook. Now he seemingly has absolved Russell Westbrook of all blame this time around, and now he's putting it on Billy Donovan and the organization. One thing that I find really interesting about all the things that have come out since Kevin Durant's left is there just doesn't seem to be any accountability on his part for what did or didn't happen during his Thunder tenure. Everything that is leaked out, whether it's been the Rolling Stone article, whether it's been the Bleacher Report article that said that Russell Westbrook was a reason, the playing with Russell Westbrook was a reason that he left, whether it's been these recent comments that have come out through his Twitter account, none of it has been about Kevin owning up to anything that the Thunder failed to accomplish while he was here. And that, to me, just kind of smacks of having a bunch of people around you who are not keeping it real.
Well, and you got to think about, if nothing else, Game 6, Western Conference Finals, here in Oklahoma City, there's got to be a level of accountability for why they weren't able to win that game. He was on the floor for that game, Eric, and there's never been sort of a, he hasn't taken that one, if nothing else, about his time here in Oklahoma City.
Yeah, I mean, that was my initial thought when I saw the people talking about these comments coming from Kevin Durant's Twitter account. And again, we still don't know if it's Kevin Durant or somebody else. The first thing I thought of was Game 6 because that was the game in the Western Conference Finals where Kevin and Russell kind of imploded down the stretch and allowed the Warriors to come back. And that was basically the beginning of the end of Kevin Durant's tenure in Oklahoma City. But it's a fascinating thing. I know a lot of people are tired of talking about Kevin Durant or hearing about Kevin Durant, but when he continues to throw himself into the conversation and bring it back to the Thunder, or somebody in his camp continues to throw him into the conversation and bring it back to the Thunder, it's almost negligent on our part not to not to discuss it.
Right.
It's just more and more nuggets keep coming out, and I guess they're gonna keep coming out until we're. I don't know. I don't know when it's going to end. We don't know when it's going to end. That's the thing. Maybe it'll just end when people stop acknowledging the fact that Kevin Durant is just talking about things.
I don't think so. I think what this means is we just can't wait for the NBA season to start. And good news, camp opens next week. These guys will be in town. We'll have practices. We can start asking not only about this, which I'm sure we'll get around to, but a lot of other things as they relate to the Thunder. So be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.